Are we living in the last days? What the Bible says about our future. Have you ever wondered if the world is heading toward its end? The idea that humanity is living in the last days is one that has captured the imaginations of millions for centuries. From apocalyptic movies to ancient prophecies, we are constantly faced with the question, are we living in the end times that the Bible predicted? For centuries, the Bible has been a source of both comfort and fear for many people, offering profound insights into the human condition, the nature of God, and the fate of the world. Among its many teachings, the most intriguing and often unsettling are its prophecies about the end of days. According to the Bible, the future holds a dramatic culmination, a time of trials, tribulations, and transformation, events that would forever change the course of history. But how should we interpret these prophecies in today's modern world? Can the events described in ancient texts really have any bearing on the challenges and changes we face today? From climate change and global conflicts to economic turmoil and pandemics, it's clear that the world is undergoing some serious upheaval. Are these signs that we are living in the times described by the Bible? Or is it merely coincidence that so many of these issues seem to align with biblical predictions? In this story, we will explore the most significant prophecies found in the Bible, focusing on those that describe the end times, the period leading up to the return of Christ, the final judgment, and the establishment of a new heaven and earth. As we look at the events described in the Bible, we will also compare them to historical events and current global crises, asking the question, could these be the signs we've been waiting for? We'll journey through the pages of the Bible to uncover the deep wisdom hidden in its prophecies. These messages were written thousands of years ago, yet they remain eerily relevant to the challenges we face in our daily lives. How can we apply the lessons from these ancient texts to our modern struggles in life and business? What can we learn from the Bible's view of the future that can guide us in our actions today? As we begin this exploration, let's ask ourselves, what do these prophecies mean for us? How can we interpret them not just as warnings, but as lessons that can shape our decisions, our businesses, and our futures? In the next chapters, we will dive deeper into the Bible's predictions about the future and what they might mean for our world. But for now, the question remains, are we living in the last days? And what does that mean for us? The Bible, particularly the books of Revelation, Daniel, and Ezekiel, has long been the subject of fascination and intrigue for those trying to understand the future. While many view the apocalyptic prophecies as symbolic or historical, others believe that they contain real, predictive power regarding the future of humanity. These ancient texts describe a series of events, wars, natural disasters, social upheavals, that would mark the end of the world as we know it. But what does it actually say? And more importantly, how do we apply these prophecies to our current circumstances? Let's start by taking a closer look at the key elements of these prophecies and try to interpret them in the context of our modern world. The Book of Revelation, the final judgment and the return of Christ. The Book of Revelation, often referred to as the Apocalypse, is the most detailed and dramatic description of the end times in the Bible. It was written by the Apostle John while he was exiled on the island of Patmos. The book contains vivid imagery of future events, including the rise of the Antichrist, the seven seals, the trumpets, and the final battle between good and evil. One of the most well-known aspects of Revelation is its depiction of the final battle at Armageddon, where the forces of good, led by Christ, defeat the forces of evil. Revelation also talks about a new heaven and a new earth, a place of peace and joy where God will dwell with humanity. But before that ultimate victory, the book warns of great tribulations. These tribulations include natural disasters, wars, economic collapse, and the persecution of Christians. For centuries, theologians and scholars have debated whether these events are symbolic of spiritual struggles or whether they are meant to be taken literally. Some believe that the events of Revelation are meant to provide comfort and hope for believers, assuring them that despite the difficulties of life, there will be a triumphant end. Others argue that the prophecies are warnings that we must heed in order to avoid the coming calamities. In today's world, we are witnessing an increasing frequency of natural disasters. political instability, and wars. Some might view these as signs that we are indeed approaching the end times as described in Revelation. The rise of global tensions, the increasing threat of nuclear war, and the environmental challenges we face all seem to echo the warnings of the Bible. But are these signs just coincidental? Or do they truly represent the fulfillment of biblical prophecy? The rise of the Antichrist, a global power or ideology? One of the most intriguing and terrifying figures in the Bible's prophecies is the Antichrist, described in both the book of Revelation and the letters of Paul. The Antichrist is portrayed as a powerful leader who will rise to prominence in the final days. This figure is often associated with a global leader who will deceive many, lead them astray, and establish a one-world government that enforces a new system of worship. The Antichrist is said to come to power through a series of political and economic crises, offering false promises of peace and prosperity to a world in chaos. He will perform signs and wonders, fooling many into believing that he is the savior of humanity. Ultimately, however, the Antichrist will reveal his true nature as a servant of evil, and his reign will be marked by widespread destruction and suffering. In today's world, the idea of a powerful, charismatic leader rising to global prominence is not far-fetched. Many political leaders, religious figures, and even celebrities hold enormous influence over the masses. The rise of populist leaders, the erosion of traditional political structures, and the increasing centralization of power in global institutions all raise the question: could one of these figures be the Antichrist? While it's impossible to say definitively, the concept of the Antichrist serves as a warning in the Bible. It reminds us that there will be people who, under the guise of peace and prosperity, seek to manipulate and control others for their own gain. In the business world, we often see this dynamic play out in the form of unethical leaders or corrupt corporations that exploit people for profit. The rise of the Antichrist is not just a prophecy about a single individual, but a warning against the dangers of unchecked power and greed. Whether in politics, business, or religion, the mark of the beast, economic and technological control. One of the most well-known elements of the book of Revelation is the prophecy concerning the mark of the beast. Revelation chapter 13 verses 16 to 17 describes a time when people will be required to receive a mark on their hand or forehead in order to buy or sell. This mark is associated with the number 666, often referred to as the number of the beast, and it is said to symbolize allegiance to the Antichrist. For centuries, people have speculated about what the mark of the beast could be. Some believed it was a literal mark, such as a tattoo or branding. Others thought it might refer to a system of economic control, such as a barcode or digital identification. In modern times, the rise of technology and digital currency has led many to wonder if the mark of the beast might be a symbol of global economic control through a cashless society. In recent years, we've seen an increasing trend toward digital currencies, biometric identification, and the centralization of financial systems. With the rise of cryptocurrencies, contactless payments, and even the potential for central bank digital currencies, CBDCs, it's not difficult to see how the world could move toward a system where individuals are required to use a form of digital identification to participate in the global economy. Some argue that this technological shift could be the fulfillment of the prophecy concerning the mark of the beast. Whether or not this is true, the underlying message of the prophecy is clear. We must be cautious about the ways in which technology and economic systems can be used to control and manipulate people. In business, the drive for efficiency and profit can sometimes lead to the exploitation of individuals and communities. The mark of the beast serves as a reminder that we must remain vigilant about the ethical implications of technological advancements and economic systems. Natural disasters and the signs of the end times. The Bible also speaks of a time when natural disasters will increase in intensity and frequency. In the Gospel of Matthew, Jesus himself mentions earthquakes, famines, and wars as signs of the end times. Matthew chapter 24 verses 7 to 8. Similarly, the book of Revelation describes the earth being shaken, with the heavens and the seas being affected by God's judgment. Today, we are witnessing a significant increase in the number and severity of natural disasters around the world. From devastating hurricanes and wildfires to earthquakes and floods, the planet seems to be experiencing an unprecedented level of environmental turmoil. While it is important to recognize the role that human activity, such as climate change, plays in these disasters, the Bible's warnings about the end times remind us that the earth itself may be undergoing a transformation in line with prophetic events. Could these disasters be a sign that we are living in the final days? Some believe that the frequency and scale of these events point to the fulfillment of biblical prophecy. Whether or not we view these events as direct fulfillments of the Bible's predictions, they serve as a reminder of our need to be responsible stewards of the earth and to prepare for the challenges that lie ahead. As we look around the world today, it's hard to ignore the striking parallels between biblical prophecies and the events unfolding before our eyes. The Bible spoke of a world filled with turmoil, political strife, economic instability, and social unrest, events that, for many, seem to be happening more frequently and more intensely in recent years. Is this just a coincidence? Or are these the signs that the Bible warned us about? To explore this further, let's dive into some of the most significant prophetic themes in the Bible and examine how they might manifest in our world today. Global political instability and the rise of authoritarianism. The Bible paints a picture of a world in which political instability would reach unprecedented levels in the final days. In the book of Daniel, for example, the rise and fall of great empires are depicted as part of the divine plan. The fall of these empires is seen as a precursor to the establishment of God's eternal kingdom. Similarly, in the New Testament, the Apostle Paul warns that there will be a time when the man of lawlessness, commonly associated with the Antichrist, will rise to power, claiming authority over the nations. Today, we see an alarming trend toward authoritarianism around the globe, from the rise of populist leaders to the increasing centralization of power in certain nations. It's clear that the political landscape is shifting. In countries where democratic systems once thrived, we are witnessing the erosion of civil liberties and the concentration of power in the hands of a few. Leaders are emerging who promise to restore order in times of chaos, but often at the cost of individual freedoms and democratic norms. This political shift closely mirrors what the Bible warns about in the end times. The book of Revelation speaks of a ruler who will unite the world under a single political system, offering promises of peace and stability but ultimately leading the world into destruction. This figure, often associated with the Antichrist, will deceive the masses by pretending to be a savior. However, his true intentions are far more sinister. In our time, the emergence of powerful leaders who appeal to nationalistic sentiments, often using fear and division to gain power, is a troubling sign. As the Bible suggests, these leaders might initially present themselves as the solution to the world's problems, but their actions often lead to greater instability, oppression, and conflict. The economic system, a world in crisis, and the pursuit of global control. The Bible also speaks about economic upheaval as a significant feature of the end times. Revelation chapter 13 verse 17 describes a system where people will not be able to buy or sell without receiving a mark, often interpreted as a symbol of economic control. This prophecy has led many to speculate about the future of global economics, especially in light of the rapid advances in digital technology, cryptocurrencies, and the push toward a cashless society. In the modern world, we are seeing the rise of centralized digital currencies and biometric identification systems that could potentially reshape the global economic landscape. Central banks are exploring the idea of issuing digital currencies, which could offer unprecedented control over financial transactions. This kind of centralized control over money and commerce mirrors the biblical warning about a system that could restrict people's ability to participate in the economy unless they align with a particular system or ideology. While digital currencies and financial innovations may offer convenience and efficiency, they also raise important questions about privacy, control, and freedom. Will we eventually reach a point where our financial systems are entirely digital? and where our ability to buy or sell is controlled by a centralized authority. If so, could this be the fulfillment of the prophecy regarding the mark of the beast? The Bible warns against the dangers of an economic system that exploits people and forces them to conform to a single ideology in order to survive. In business, we often see similar dynamics, corporations using their power to control markets, manipulate consumers, and suppress competition. The push for a global economic system that is highly centralized and controlled by a few powerful entities mirrors these biblical warnings. In this context, the challenge for business leaders and individuals alike is to remain vigilant, ethical, and resistant to systems that seek to manipulate or oppress. The breakdown of social structures and the rise of lawlessness. In addition to political and economic instability, the Bible also warns about the breakdown of social structures and the rise of lawlessness in the final days. In the Gospel of Matthew, Jesus speaks of a time when, because of the increase of wickedness, the love of most will grow cold. Matthew chapter 24 verse 12. This breakdown in social order is also reflected in the letters of Paul, who warns that people will become lovers of themselves, lovers of money, boastful, proud, abusive, disobedient to their parents. 2 Timothy chapter 3 verses 2 to 5. In recent years, we have witnessed a significant increase in social unrest. Protests, riots, and civil disobedience have become commonplace in many parts of the world. There is a growing sense of division, not just between nations, but within societies themselves. People seem more polarized than ever, with ideologies becoming more extreme and intolerance growing. The breakdown of trust in institutions and the rise of individualism are contributing factors to this growing sense of lawlessness. As the Bible predicts, the increase in lawlessness leads to a decline in morality and compassion. People become more focused on their own desires and less concerned with the well-being of others. This can be seen in the rise of consumerism, where material gain often takes precedence over the needs of the community. The disintegration of social bonds and the increasing selfishness of individuals are clear indicators that society is moving away from the values of love, compassion, and unity that the Bible encourages. In the business world, this breakdown in social structures is reflected in practices that prioritize profits over people. Corporate greed, exploitation of workers, and the disregard for ethical standards are all manifestations of this social decay. The Bible warns that in the end times, people will seek only their own gain, even at the expense of others. This serves as a cautionary tale for business leaders who must consider the ethical implications of their decisions and actions. The rise of corporate monopolies, exploitation of labor, and environmental degradation are all signs of a society where lawlessness and greed have overtaken righteousness and justice. The persecution of the faithful, a call to stand firm. Another recurring theme in the Bible's prophecies is the persecution of those who remain faithful to God. In Revelation, it is predicted that there will be a time when Christians will be persecuted for their beliefs, forced to choose between their faith and allegiance to the world's systems. This persecution is not limited to physical harm, but extends to economic and social ostracization as well. Those who refuse to worship the Antichrist or align themselves with the corrupt systems of the world will be marginalized and oppressed. In today's world, religious persecution is still a harsh reality for many people. In some countries, Christians face imprisonment, torture, and even death for their faith. While religious freedom is protected in many parts of the world, there are still regions where believers are targeted because of their faith. The growing secularization of society also presents challenges to people of faith, as they are often pushed to the margins of society and denied the opportunity to practice their beliefs freely. For Christians and business leaders alike, the challenge is to stand firm in the face of opposition. As the world becomes more secular and hostile to traditional values, it's important to remain steadfast in one's beliefs and continue to act with integrity. Even when it's difficult, the Bible encourages believers to remain strong, knowing that their reward is in heaven, and to be a light in a world that is growing darker. As we continue to explore the prophecies of the Bible, It's important to remember that while they offer warnings of hardship and tribulation, they also provide hope and guidance for how to live through these challenges. The Bible speaks not only of judgment but of redemption. Amidst the turmoil and uncertainty of the end times, there is a message of renewal, healing, and restoration for Christians and for all people. The key to facing the challenges of life and the prophecies of the future is hope and resilience. The promise of restoration, a new heaven and a new earth. One of the most profound aspects of the Bible's prophecies about the end times is the promise of a new heaven and a new earth. In the book of Revelation, after all the trials and tribulations, God promises to create a new world, free from suffering, pain, and death. Revelation chapter 21 verses 1 to 4 speaks of this vision. Then I saw a new heaven and a new earth, for the first heaven and the first earth had passed away, and there was no longer any sea. I saw the holy city, the new Jerusalem, coming down out of heaven from God, prepared as a bride beautifully dressed for her husband. And I heard a loud voice from the throne saying, "Look, God's dwelling place is now among the people, and he will dwell with them. They will be his people, and God himself will be with them and be their God. He will wipe every tear from their eyes. There will be no more death or mourning or crying or pain, for the old order of things has passed away." This vision offers Christians, and indeed all people, a profound sense of hope. Even in the darkest times, there is the promise of a world made new, a world where suffering no longer reigns, and where God's presence brings peace and healing for those navigating difficult circumstances. This vision of restoration can be a powerful reminder that no matter how hard the current situation may seem, there is a greater hope for the future. In the business world, this message of renewal can be seen as a call to invest in long-term values that promote sustainability, ethics, and care for people. As businesses and entrepreneurs face an ever-changing landscape, it can be tempting to focus solely on short-term gains. However, the Bible teaches that enduring success comes from building with integrity, focusing on relationships, and contributing to a better world. Just as God promises a new creation in the end times, business leaders can work toward creating businesses that contribute to positive change and social good, rather than merely seeking profit at any cost. The role of preparation, building resilience in uncertain times. Another key message from the prophecies in the Bible is the importance of preparation. Whether it's the parable of the 10 virgins, Matthew chapter 25 verses 1 to 13, or the story of Noah building the ark, Genesis chapters 6 to 9. The Bible stresses the need to be ready for the challenges that lie ahead. In the end times, there will be trials, but the faithful will be prepared. Preparation doesn't just mean physical readiness, it also involves spiritual and emotional resilience. The Bible speaks of a time of tribulation when many will lose heart, but those who are grounded in their faith will endure. As Christians, this means relying on God's strength, maintaining hope, and living with integrity and compassion, even in the face of adversity. In a practical sense, preparation in today's world is just as important. The increasing unpredictability of the global economy, environmental crises, and political instability all make it clear that we need to be prepared for whatever challenges lie ahead. For businesses, this means diversifying resources, developing contingency plans, and maintaining flexibility in order to adapt to changing circumstances. Similarly, individuals can prepare themselves by building emotional resilience, cultivating strong relationships, and living with a sense of purpose that transcends temporary challenges. Overcoming adversity. Lessons from the prophets. The Bible is filled with stories of individuals who faced immense adversity and overcame it through faith and perseverance. From the story of Joseph, who rose from being a slave to becoming a ruler in Egypt, to the account of Job, who endured incredible suffering yet remained faithful to God. These stories offer valuable lessons about resilience. In the book of James, we are told, "Consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, whenever you face trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance. Let perseverance finish its work so that you may be mature and complete, not lacking anything." James chapter 1 verses 2 to 4. This verse reminds us that challenges are an inevitable part of life. But they also have the potential to strengthen our character and build resilience. In business, adversity is often seen as a threat, something to avoid at all costs. However, just as the Bible teaches that adversity can lead to personal growth, so too can businesses use challenging times as opportunities for innovation and improvement. Companies that embrace challenges, learn from their mistakes, and remain committed to their core values are often the ones that come out stronger on the other side. For example, during the COVID-19 pandemic, many businesses faced unprecedented challenges. Some companies struggled to survive, while others thrived by pivoting to new business models, embracing remote work, or focusing on digital transformation. The key to success during these difficult times was resilience, the ability to adapt, innovate, and continue moving forward, no matter the obstacles. The call to love and serve, building strong communities. Finally, one of the most important themes in the Bible's prophecies is the call to love and serve others. In a time of widespread suffering and division, the Bible repeatedly urges believers to care for the poor, the sick, and the marginalized. Jesus himself said, "Whatever you did for one of the least of these brothers and sisters of mine, you did for me." Matthew chapter 25 verse 40. This message is just as relevant today as it was in biblical times. As we face the challenges of the end times, we must remember the importance of community and compassion. Businesses and individuals alike are called to use their resources and influence to make a positive impact on the world. In an era marked by social unrest and economic inequality, there is an urgent need for leaders who prioritize people over profits, who invest in communities, and who seek to make the world a better place for all. In the business world, this means adopting practices that prioritize sustainability, social responsibility, and ethical decision-making. It means recognizing that businesses do not exist in a vacuum, but are part of a larger community. When businesses embrace their responsibility to serve others, they not only contribute to a better world but also build lasting success that is grounded in trust and integrity. A final call to action: preparing for the future with hope. As we reflect on the prophecies of the Bible, it's clear that the future is uncertain. Whether or not we are living in the end times, the Bible's teachings provide us with valuable lessons about how to live with hope, resilience, and faith. While the challenges we face may seem insurmountable at times, we are reminded that we have the power to overcome them. The Bible encourages us to remain steadfast in our beliefs, to prepare for the unknown, and to live with a sense of purpose and compassion. In the world of business, this means being adaptable, ethical, and committed to making a positive difference. And in our personal lives, it means holding fast to our faith and trusting that, no matter what happens, God is with us every step of the way. So, as we look ahead to the future, let us remember the words of Revelation chapter 21 verse 5. He who is seated on the throne said, "I am making everything new." No matter what comes our way, we have the assurance that in the end, everything will be made new. Let that be our hope, our guiding light, and our inspiration as we continue to navigate the challenges of life and business in the days ahead. As we continue to navigate the complex and often tumultuous world around us, we must remember the timeless lessons from the Bible that speak to us about the importance of faithfulness, integrity, and leadership. The Bible not only prophesies about the challenges we face but also provides us with practical wisdom on how to approach these challenges with honor, courage, and resilience. In both personal life and business, these principles remain as relevant today as they were when they were first written. Faithfulness in adversity, staying true to your values. Throughout the Bible, we are reminded of the importance of remaining faithful in the face of adversity. One of the clearest examples of this is the story of Daniel. Despite being exiled to Babylon and faced with immense pressure to conform to the king's ways, Daniel remained faithful to his beliefs. He refused to worship idols and chose instead to follow the laws of his God. Even though it meant risking his life, his unwavering faithfulness is ultimately rewarded as God saves him from the lion's den, Daniel 6. In today's world, faithfulness in the midst of adversity can sometimes feel like an overwhelming challenge. With so many distractions, pressures, and uncertainties, it's easy to lose sight of our core values. However, the story of Daniel reminds us that staying true to our principles, even when it's difficult, brings us closer to our purpose and can often lead to extraordinary results. In the business world, this principle is crucial. Business leaders who remain faithful to their company's core values, whether it be ethics, sustainability, or customer service, are more likely to earn long-term trust and loyalty from their customers and employees. For example, companies like Patagonia and Ben & Jerry's are known for their commitment to sustainability and social justice. Even when these principles may not always align with the pursuit of short-term profits, these companies are successful not because they compromise their values, but because they stayed true to them. Just as Daniel remained faithful to his convictions, businesses that prioritize integrity and social responsibility can build a lasting legacy. Integrity, the foundation of trust in business. Integrity is another key theme that runs throughout the Bible. In Proverbs chapter 10 verse 9, it says, "Whoever walks in integrity walks securely, but whoever takes crooked paths will be found out." This verse speaks to the importance of honesty and uprightness in all that we do, especially in times of crisis. Integrity is the foundation upon which trust is built, and without trust, relationships, whether personal or professional, cannot thrive. In the business world, integrity is often tested. During times of economic downturns or when faced with difficult decisions, it may be tempting to cut corners, deceive stakeholders, or prioritize short-term profits over long-term sustainability. However, this kind of behavior is ultimately detrimental to both the company and society. When businesses operate with integrity, they build trust with customers, employees, and investors. This trust becomes a powerful asset, especially in times of crisis, when people are looking for stability and reliability. Consider the example of Johnson & Johnson during the 1982 Tylenol poisoning crisis. When 7 people died after taking Tylenol capsules that had been tampered with, the company could have attempted to cover up the issue to avoid financial loss. Instead, they immediately recalled all Tylenol products from the market, costing the company millions of dollars. While this decision was financially painful in the short term, it ultimately reinforced the company's commitment to customer safety and integrity. This act of honesty and transparency helped rebuild the company's reputation and allowed it to regain its market position. In the same way, businesses today must prioritize integrity over expediency. The Bible reminds us that the path of integrity may not always be the easiest, but it is the one that leads to lasting success. The integrity of the upright guides them. Proverbs chapter 11 verse 3. Whether it's through transparent marketing, fair labor practices, or environmentally responsible production methods, maintaining integrity in business is essential for long-term success. Leadership in times of crisis, leading with wisdom and compassion. Another significant aspect of the biblical narrative is the role of leadership in times of crisis. Throughout the Bible, we see examples of leaders who faced enormous challenges but led with wisdom, compassion, and a commitment to justice. One such example is the leadership of Nehemiah, who oversaw the rebuilding of Jerusalem's walls after they were destroyed by the Babylonians. Despite facing opposition from surrounding nations, Nehemiah persevered, rallied the people, and completed the task successfully. In the modern world, leadership in times of crisis is equally important. Whether it's a global pandemic, a financial crisis, or a natural disaster, leaders are called upon to make tough decisions and guide their communities or organizations through turbulent times. The Bible teaches that effective leadership requires a combination of wisdom, humility, and a strong moral compass. Leaders must be willing to listen to others, seek counsel when necessary, and prioritize the well-being of those they lead. In business, the same principles apply. Leaders who are transparent, compassionate, and focused on the long-term health of their organizations are more likely to earn the trust and respect of their employees and stakeholders. During difficult times, employees look to their leaders for guidance and reassurance. A leader who shows integrity, communicates openly, and makes decisions that are in the best interest of the organization and its people will inspire loyalty and commitment. In the Bible, the Apostle Paul offers a powerful example of leadership in his letter to the Philippians. He writes, "Do nothing out of selfish ambition or vain conceit. Rather, in humility value others above yourselves, not looking to your own interests but each of you to the interests of the others." Philippians chapter 2 verses 3 to 4. This is a message that resonates strongly in today's business world, where leaders must prioritize the needs of their teams and foster a culture of collaboration and mutual respect. Empowering others, the ripple effect of ethical leadership. One of the most powerful aspects of leadership, according to the Bible, is the ability to empower others. Jesus' ministry was marked by his ability to raise up others, teaching them to lead and serve in his name. In the business world, ethical leadership should similarly focus on empowering employees, encouraging innovation, and fostering a sense of purpose and responsibility. Leaders who invest in the development of their teams create a ripple effect that extends far beyond their own actions. Empowering others can take many forms, providing opportunities for professional growth, encouraging creativity and initiative, and fostering an environment where employees feel valued and heard. The more a leader empowers those around them, the greater the collective success that can be achieved. The Bible teaches us that leadership is not about exerting control or gaining power for oneself, but about serving others and helping them achieve their potential. As businesses face increasing competition and rapid changes in technology, ethical leadership that empowers others becomes an essential part of staying relevant and successful. Leaders who invest in their people and encourage a culture of collaboration will not only weather the storms of economic and social upheaval, but will also build businesses that endure and thrive. Conclusion: the eternal lessons of the Bible for modern business. As we conclude this exploration of the prophecies of the Bible and their relevance to our lives today, we are reminded that the principles of faithfulness, integrity, leadership, and compassion are timeless. Whether in business or in personal life, these values guide us through the challenges of the world and prepare us for a better future. While the Bible's prophecies may point to a time of crisis, they also offer the hope of renewal and restoration, a vision of a new world where justice, peace, and righteousness reign. In the business world, the lessons of the Bible are more relevant than ever. By staying true to our values, leading with integrity, and empowering those around us, we can create businesses that not only survive the challenges of today's world but also contribute to a better, more just future. Just as the Bible offers us a vision of a world restored, we have the opportunity to build businesses and communities that reflect those same values of justice, compassion, and hope. As we reflect on the powerful prophecies and lessons drawn from the Bible, it's important to acknowledge that while the future remains uncertain, the teachings of the past give us the tools to navigate the present and prepare for what lies ahead. The end times, as foretold in Scripture, may seem daunting, but they also serve as a call to action, reminding us of the importance of faith, integrity, leadership, and compassion in the face of adversity. A call to action, living with purpose in the midst of uncertainty. The Bible offers a stark picture of the challenges and upheavals that will occur in the end times. Wars, famines, disease, and natural disasters are all part of the prophecy. But there is also a vision of hope and redemption. Just as the early Christians faced persecution, hardship, and suffering, we too can find strength in our faith and in the principles that guide our actions. It is through our choices, our commitment to integrity, and our ability to lead with love and compassion that we can bring about positive change, even in the most difficult circumstances. In the business world, the parallels are clear. The marketplace, like the world in the end times, is volatile and unpredictable. Economic downturns, changing consumer behavior, and shifting technological landscapes all create uncertainty. Yet, just as the Bible encourages us to remain steadfast and faithful, we too must stay committed to our core values and long-term goals. The future may seem uncertain, but by remaining grounded in faith, integrity, and a willingness to adapt, we can weather any storm. The story of the end times is not merely one of doom and gloom. It is also a story of hope, resilience, and the possibility of redemption, just as Jesus spoke of the promise of a new heaven and a new earth. We are reminded that no matter how dire the situation, there is always the possibility for renewal and transformation. This is a powerful lesson not only for our spiritual lives but for our businesses and our communities as well. Preparing for the future, embracing change and adapting. One of the most important lessons we can take from the Bible's prophecies is the importance of preparation. While we may not know exactly what the future holds, we can take proactive steps to ensure that we are ready for whatever challenges may come our way. This applies to both our personal lives and our businesses. Just as the wise man built his house on solid rock, we too must build our businesses on a foundation of trust, integrity, and adaptability. In today's rapidly changing world, businesses must be prepared to pivot, adapt, and innovate. The Bible's teachings on resilience in the face of trials can be applied directly to the world of entrepreneurship. For instance, in the story of Joseph in Egypt, we see a man who was prepared for the famine that came to the land. Despite the adversity he faced, he used his wisdom and foresight to save his people from starvation. Genesis chapter 41. This story is a reminder that, in the face of uncertainty, preparation and wise decision-making can make all the difference. As businesses face increasing challenges, whether through economic instability, changing market trends, or technological disruption, it is essential to remain flexible and open to change. This means embracing new ideas, continuously learning, and seeking innovative solutions, much like Joseph, who rose to prominence because of his ability to adapt and make sound decisions during a time of crisis. Business leaders must be prepared to make tough decisions and take bold actions to secure their future. The role of compassion and community, building strong relationships. Another central theme in the Bible's teachings is the importance of compassion and community. In the end times, when people may become increasingly self-centered and divided, the Bible urges us to love our neighbors and care for those in need. In Matthew chapter 25 verses 35 to 40, Jesus teaches that when we serve others, we are serving Him. For I was hungry and you gave me something to eat. I was thirsty and you gave me something to drink. I was a stranger and you invited me in. This powerful passage reminds us that business is not just about profits and transactions. It is about building meaningful relationships, both with our customers and with the communities we serve. Businesses that are founded on a sense of purpose and a commitment to giving back are more likely to thrive in the long term. Whether through corporate social responsibility programs, charitable donations, or sustainable business practices, companies that prioritize the well-being of others are more likely to earn the trust and loyalty of their customers. In times of crisis, businesses that show compassion and support their employees and customers are more likely to build a lasting legacy. During the COVID-19 pandemic, many companies were faced with difficult decisions about how to survive. However, some businesses found ways to support their communities, whether by offering free services, donating products, or pivoting their operations to meet new needs. These actions not only helped others but also strengthened the brand's relationship with its customers, fostering loyalty and goodwill. Similarly, the Bible teaches us that true leadership is not about power or control, but about service. Jesus himself modeled this leadership style by washing the feet of his disciples and encouraging them to do the same. In the business world, this is a call to servant leadership, a leadership style that focuses on empowering others, serving the needs of employees and customers, and prioritizing the well-being of the community. Living with hope, a vision of renewal and transformation. Ultimately, the story of the end times is a reminder that no matter how difficult the journey may be, there is always the hope of transformation. The Bible tells us that even in the darkest moments, God's light shines brightest. This message of hope is not just for the future, it is for today. We can take comfort in the knowledge that, no matter what challenges we face, we are never alone. God is with us, guiding us, strengthening us, and offering us the hope of a better tomorrow. In business, this message of hope and transformation is just as relevant. While the challenges we face may sometimes seem insurmountable, we can take heart knowing that we have the power to adapt, to innovate, and to make a positive impact. Just as the Bible speaks of a new heaven and a new earth, we too can work toward building a new and better world through our businesses, our relationships, and our actions. The end times may bring challenges, but they also bring opportunities. Opportunities to lead with integrity, to serve with compassion, and to build businesses that make a difference. As we move forward into an uncertain future, let us embrace these opportunities with hope, faith, and a commitment to creating a better world for all. A final reflection: our role in shaping the future. As we conclude this exploration of the end times prophecies and their relevance to our lives today, we are reminded that we are not merely passive recipients of fate. We are active participants in shaping our future. Whether in our personal lives or in the world of business, we have the power to make choices that reflect our values, our faith, and our commitment to making the world a better place. The Bible's prophecies may point to a time of trial and tribulation, but they also point to a time of hope and renewal. By living with integrity, leading with compassion, and embracing change, we can make a difference in the world around us. We may not know what the future holds, but we can rest assured that, with faith, preparation, and hope, we can face whatever comes our way and emerge stronger and more resilient than ever before.